Welcome back to ClickFunnels Quick Start Blueprint. This is Dan Havey with CFninjaHacks. And in the last couple of videos, we've been going through all of the page elements. We went through text, media, forms, and now we are down here to advanced forms. And so we have the start of an input type form here, and we're going to include in there now an SMS signup. And so here somebody could come in and they say, okay, I want to receive a text message at some point prior to like a webinar starting or something along those lines. So let's click on this. And it says here, SMS checkbox. It said, I would like to receive, over here's where the text, I would like to receive an SMS text alert before the event starts. Obviously, you can change this text to anything you would like. And as always, we've got a margin at the top here. And then we have our phone field. It says enter mobile phone here. So that's the placeholder text for this element. I don't know as though you can change this one. I don't think you can. The country code for mobile elements, you can't change the placeholder there. And then again, we have our SMS notice, which is what they have as your standard here. Optional, but highly recommended. Obviously, you take that part off. Select your country code and enter your mobile phone number to receive a text alert reminder 15 minutes before the webinar starts. Okay, so you can obviously change out that text as well and take out the optional but highly recommended part. And we can change our font sizes on everything and the SMS text box color. And notice right here, so the top here and the bottom here, you can change your text colors right there. Themes, there are no themes available. And then advanced checkbox text style, regular or bold. We can align, we can set our corners, background color, icon. We can put in a phone icon if we would like. So we got a little phone icon there. It can be black, white, or colored. So let's make it black. And the position left or right. And that is pretty much for this element. When somebody comes in to your page, let's save this and let's preview this page. So somebody comes in and it says, I would like to receive an SMS text. Click here, put in your country code, USA, and then it starts with the number 1. You put in your cell phone number, and then you say, join my cool thing, and then they will get an SMS text message 15 minutes before whenever this starts. Now, because there is no setting in here to say when that 15 minutes is or anything, you are going to have to do that with some sort of third-party software, like Twilio is one of the built-in SMS text messengers, so you can build it into Twilio, set in a time when everybody will receive a text message prior to your webinar starting. So let's see what other elements we have in here. We have our billing address, so let's click on that and put in the billing address. And let's open it up so you can put in, again, we're looking at the placeholder text here. You got your full address, your city name, your state and province, your zip code, and I forget here, can we change this? Let's go back inside here. So if we say full address, yeah, that's changing this here. I don't know if there's a way to change these labels without using some sort of JavaScript code or something. So you're pretty much stuck with those labels. And then we can go into advanced and we can say, is this required or not? Toggle extra info, show full address, or only country. So that took it completely off the page. I didn't think that was working right. So text align, left, right, the whole shebang. Actually, let's try this. Let's turn this to only country, although it took it off the page. So let's save this and then we will preview it. And so it's not showing that at all because we changed that to country only. So now let's go back in. Let's find that element, billing address. And let's click on it to change it. And we will say show full address. So you're going to have to leave that as show full address. You can't do country only. I'm not really sure why you would, because you can put that in with one of the elements we had in the last section. So here somebody can put in all their information. Obviously click join my cool thing. Page will submit. All the information will be stored into the contact database based upon the person's email address. And then we can also put in a shipping address, but I'm 99% sure that is exactly the same element. And so let's open it up. And yes, we are looking at exactly the same element, but you do want to, if you do have to collect a billing address and a shipping address, make sure you use each one of the individual elements. Use the shipping element and use the billing element because they will store them differently inside of the ClickFunnels database. So I can delete out both of these because we're not going to be needing them. And then inside of these elements here, we have one last element. It really doesn't have to do with what we've been looking at for the last video and a half now, which was we had our button, we had our inputs, and we had all the stuff that was going to be saved to the database. But this one here now is the survey element, so it's a completely kind of unrelated element. So let's just pull that in, and where I'm going to drop it is down here below. So we're not going to have it up in the order form or into the opt-in form itself at the top of the page. Now, I will tell you, if you want to save this person's information after they get done going through this survey, if you want to save their answers, you can, but again, it's the same thing as before. We need to take somewhere along the way, there needs to be a button on the page, and there needs to be the email on the page. Now, you could have them enter the email, enter their email address prior to this and then like do a hide show. So you could say, okay, well, enter your email address here and click a button, and you're going to click the button and then the survey will pop up. And then at the end of the survey, you'll have it submit all the information. That's certainly one way of doing it. Another way of doing it is you could have them run through the entire survey. When they get done with the survey, then we will have an email and a button appear. I do believe we can do that in a pop-up. At that point, you can open up a pop-up when the survey is done. Then you could have them put in their email address and click the button telling them that you will give them their results, or they will get whatever free thing that they're opting into by going through the survey. So what we're going to do is we're going to quickly go through the survey element itself. There's a lot of different settings in here, and I could do really a full-blown class on how to do this whole thing. But it is, they originally built this thing a couple of years ago, and it still says that it's in beta. They built it, and they pretty much have not made any changes to it. I don't know if they ever intend to, but obviously if they do some major changes, I will put an additional video in this training showing you how it works. So we're going to edit our survey, and they have one question in here for starters. So let's just open up that question, and you have two existing answers, and you can just add more answers down here in the bottom if you would like. And then it says, if they choose this answer, where do you want them to go? Do you want them to go to the next survey, or do you want the survey to end when they do that? And I'll show you there are other options, but those are the two that are here. And of course, you can move everything around. Let's just grab a hold of this. You can move the stacking order of the questions. Now, for the questions themselves, you have your main question here, and then you can have your sub-headline or sub-question, we'll call this. You can have your sub-question below it right there. And you can say, how do you want this to display? You can have your text only, like you have here existing on the page with a couple of radio buttons, or you could put some images in front of it. And then for each one, you could go out into your image library, and we could pick an image for each one of these. So just pick a couple of images here real quick. So we got images in front of these as well. Let me click out of here so you can see it. So you got an image, and then you can have the radio button if you would like. So let's go back in. Let's open up this question. And this is dependent upon each question. Every single question you can set up differently. So one you can have with the images, and others you could have with just a question. So you could have something, you could have a question here, or an answer that has to do with the image. It's like, okay, which color do you like better? And then you could have like, 3 different colors, and they would click on the one that they like best. Which ad do you like better? Which type of cologne do you like better? Whatever it is, and they could come through and you could see the images, and then they could choose which one they liked. So we said we're going to show an image here. We can do a vertical list like we have existing, or we can do vertical 2 by 2. So you got basically you got 2 columns then on the page. And again, depending on what your questions are, that might work. Or you can do blocks as well, but I'll let you play around with that and go through those if you'd like. And then we can have a radio button. We can have a circle, square, letter, numbered, or hide. In this case here, because we have images, we'd probably just hide that, and then somebody would just click on the image itself. Or like it says here, we can put in letters, and let me click out of here. So you got A, B, C, D. Or you could put in numbers as well. Let's open this back up. Make that numbered. Come back out, see the numbers. And then in this case here, though, because we have images, let's just say we want to hide that completely. And so somebody would come in and it's like, okay, which one of these 3 products do you want to buy? Which one of these 3 products did you like the best? If you're comparing different products in a survey, somebody would click on it and go to the next question. So let's go back in. Was there anything else in here? I don't think so. So now we can back out of here. Now besides, we can add another question by clicking here. And right now they only have multiple choice. So now we have new question, and I'll just say 222 to make it our new question. Again, we can add everything, and we can change how it looks. And let's just say block 2 by 2, just to put that in there, see what it looks like. And again, next question, or finish the survey. So now let's click back out. Now there's no save button on here anywhere, so you always have to click to go back out of this every time you are done. But now what we can do is we can add a question group, and this is where it starts getting interesting. So we're going to add question in the group. Same thing here. And so then let's just say we're going to call this group 1. New question, and then we're just going to put in a couple of questions, and again here, next, or end the survey, and we can do everything exactly like before. And now let's back out of here again. We're going to add a new one, and we're going to say this was group 1, and new question, we should call this 2, and again we will add some questions there. Let's go back into this one. Let me put a bunch of 1s in here, and we will say back out, and we can add a new group or a new question to this group. And so we're at group 1 again, and I'm calling these things obviously because just for purposes of showing you how this works, you would actually put real names and real questions in here. Okay, so now we have our group. So now what we can do is we can add an additional question group. So now we have Q4 group, Q3 group, and we can come in here and we can say now group 2, new question 1, add that. Let's back out. Let's add one more real quick. So we got group 2. And this is question 2. Add some answers. And here we go. So now what we can do, if we come over here, we can click on this and we can copy this question. Let me see here. I'll copy that. Okay, it gave us a new one down here. Group 3, question 222. No, actually it gave us this one here is new. So let's just change this to 33333. Back out of here. And then we should be able to move them around. Let's see here. Nope, it's not wanting me to do that. Well, then let's rename this one 222. Oops. 222. and then, oops, I do that all the time. I'll click the add answer again down at the bottom, kind of thinking it's a submit button. So 333. Let's back out of here. So here we go. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3 in group 1, and then our group 3, and then group 4. Okay, now because we grouped all of these questions together, we can come into the question itself, and instead of having it just be next or end survey like we had before, we can now go to a specific question. So here we are in group 1, question 1. Let's say that when they answer the question, so whatever this answer is right here, when they click on this answer, what we want them to do is to go to group 2, question 1. So we can send them to that group. So now same thing here, the second question, you can go here and let's send them into group 2, question 2, and etc. Oops, down the line here. So there you go. So then that way you can start segmenting people. So okay, here we come into question number 1. Okay, you answered number 1, we're going to send you over here. We're going to send you over into group 2, question number 2. And if you answer a different way, we're going to send you into group 5, question number 1. And we can, so that way you can just start segmenting people out. Now, don't get too terribly complicated with this. And I would say also kind of like draw out a tree once you start doing this, or it's going to be hard to keep up as far as where you're going to go to. But the nice thing here is you see here Q2 V1 A1, Q2 V1 A2. So just to step back for a second, we came in here to Q3 V1, and this is where we set our thing. So if somebody answered question 1, they would go to this step, group 2, question 1. So let's say, so somebody answers this with answer number 1, they are going to go down here. So we got V1, which is our question. We got V1, and you see as I put my mouse over it, it actually turns this orange up here. So we got V1, answer 1. So if somebody's in V1 up here and they answer 1, then they will come here. If it's V1, answer 2, they will come here. V1, answer 3, they will come down to this third one. That's exactly how we had this set in here. Question 1, we had a question 2, and question 3 is where we're going to send them to down here. Now, the Q2, I think that's a mistake. Honestly, I think they should say Q3 here because it's Q3 V1 goes down here. So, again, there might be a little bit of bug in here, but you get the idea, especially when you hover over it and it turns this orange up here, you know exactly where that one is coming from. So now the next thing we have to do here, the next thing we have to do is we have to look at our triggers. Now, with our triggers, we can add them in, and basically if somebody answers a question a certain way, it can trigger either Facebook pixel or a Google tag with Google Tag Manager. And so we can open that up and we can give our trigger a name, and we say, okay, so if they answered this question is equal to this answer, so again, that goes off of purely what we set up for the questions and answers, we can come in and we can either fire a Facebook pixel or we can fire a Google tag. And you're going to put a custom name in here. And now with this stuff here, read all the instructions very carefully. It will tell you exactly how to set it up. And then when we come into settings, it says right here, you must paste in the Facebook, must paste in the Facebook tracking pixel JavaScript GTM in the settings tracking footer code of the page for those to work. So basically, you take the code that you got from either Facebook or from Google, you paste it into the footer tracking code on this page, and then you follow all the instructions over here, and you will be able to then do custom events and trigger certain things within Facebook and Google based upon which answers somebody clicked on the page. So now let's come to our outcomes, and we have a default outcome. So if nothing else happens, if there's no other outcome that is triggered by somebody's answers, this is what the default outcome will be, and we can add some custom ones, of course. So we can say here, loading, then page redirect. So basically it'll show a bar running across the page, and it will say what we say down here, do not, okay, that's the subtext, loading text, analyzing your results, and then it says do not leave the page or reload the page. So they answer all the questions, and then it'll have a sliding bar going across the top, a progress bar going across the top, and then it will redirect wherever you tell it to. So custom redirect. So in here, you just put in any URL you want to have them redirect to once the survey is done. That is one of the options. Another one is you can have an instant page redirect, so you don't have the sliding bar, you don't have the progress bar, you don't have any text. They just click the button and boom, they go somewhere else. Now that's probably not a good thing, because all of a sudden they're in the survey and then they're out of the survey on another page, so you might confuse them. So I probably wouldn't go that direction. You could just hide the survey when they're done, but so again, it just kind of leaves them with nothing. It says hide the survey on complete. Once the survey is completed, this action will hide the survey. Again, they're in the middle of a survey, and unless somehow or another you prompt them that once they answer this question, the survey is going to hide, that's probably not the best way to go with it either. You could submit the page, so they got through with everything, and then you click and you submit the page, but now unless you have already captured their email address on the page, submitting the page will not save it to the contact database, and you may want to save all their answers to the contact database. So you probably don't. So you have to make sure you have an email address in there really before they start the survey. So that's one of the drawbacks here, is you got to have the email address before they start the survey. Or you can do this. You can open up the pop-up. This is great when you have the survey on the page and want them to opt in once they are done. Inside of the pop-up, you can have an opt-in form. If your survey is inside of a pop-up, this action will not do anything. So basically, don't put your survey inside of a pop-up if you want to do this. So you have it open the pop-up. Inside of the pop-up, you say, hey, congratulations for taking this survey. Put in your email address, click the button, and we will send you the thing that we promised to send you. So that's a good way to not only get information about your consumer, but also then to be able to capture their email address. So let's back out of here, and let's add a new outcome, and we will add a condition. So we can say we're going to select a question again, and then if they answered a question that was equal to one of the set ones that we had in there, then we can, again, do the same thing. We can do page redirect, instant page redirect, hide on the survey, submit, or open pop-up. Generally speaking, again, you're going to do either the top one, the submit the page, or the open the pop-up is what you're going to do there. And then we can just add additional things. So the next outcome. So like I said, we have the default outcome, and now here we can just set up a whole bunch of different outcomes that say, okay, if they did these things, if they answered this question in this way, then we want to do certain things. And now remember, one of those things you can do is to send them to another page. So loading page, then redirect. And here again, we can put in where we want to redirect them to. So we can redirect them to the next URL in the page, so the next funnel step. So you can have the progress bar go across the top, have your warning, your loading text, and your subtext here, have all that there, and then you can have them go to the next page in the funnel. Or we can, like I said, we can submit the form. If you submit the form, you save their information, it will then send them to the next page in the funnel, unless, of course, under settings and general, you have set the on submit go to somewhere else. So for every one of these answers, so again, remember, we've gone through, let's say we went through 20 different questions on this page. When we get to the very end, when the form is done, we can say, okay, well, if on question group number 1 here, question 3 if there they answered this certain answer, we can come in here and say, oh, we'll just pull this out, and let's say we want to send them over to wherever you want to send them. You can send them to a blog post. You can send them to another survey element. You can send them to Google. You can send them to your Facebook group. Anywhere you want to send them to, it will redirect and send them to that page. Again, I would use the loading and then page redirect at that point. And of course, like I said already, if you do the submit the page or open the pop-up, have them put in their email address and then click a button, you can then again either send them to the next page in the funnel or through the OnSubmit Go To, send them to any page anywhere on the internet, including a different page within your funnel. So you may not want to send them to the next funnel step. You may want to send them to 3 funnel steps down. So you can do that here, or again, you could do the same thing here. So if they answered this question in this way, at that point, you may want to send them to the OTO page within your funnel. You may want to send them to the downsell page in your funnel. Wherever you want to send them to. And again, you don't have to, once they do the survey here, you don't have to collect their email address. You don't have to submit the page and save everything to the contact database. You might just say, okay, so here they answered group 2, question 2 with this answer. I may then just say, okay, I want to send them to my OTO page. They've indicated they're interested in this product, I'm going to send them there. Or they're interested in this product, I'm going to send them to this funnel over there. And again, you can do it here. And you could just say, okay, you're being redirected to this funnel because this is the thing you wanted to see. So there's a lot of flexibility here. It's a pretty simple form, but in reality, there's a lot of flexibility to it. But that is it for the survey element, and that is it for all of our, where were we here? Our advanced forms. So in the next video, we are going to get into the countdown elements. And again, like always, if you have any questions, just let me know.